If I succeed, then the human race can return to a time of splendor, time of wealth, time of happiness. This is a revolution of the spirit. What if they don't want to hear the truth?
They don't, Jack. What do you think we're sending you?
Welcome to Newrealities. That is a new, amazing movie called The Last Avatar. So I'm here today talking with the producer of the film and one of its stars, producer Sharon Rose, and Adi, who also wrote the soundtrack and performs it in the movie. Let me talk to you, Sharon, first, because you've been a visionary. You have the company Sacred Mysteries with Jay Widener from Guy MTV, and what I've heard you say is that you wanted to bring all the themes of the spiritual age into a narrative storytelling adventure that someone could relate to. So, yeah, talk to me about the development of this movie.
So, since 2000, we've had our company Sacred Mysteries that focused, actually, it began with DVDs with myself on Yoga of Light and Alex Gray, the great artist visionary, Art Mind, and then Alberto Violdo, who is the shaman healer with the light body tradition. And so that became a major theme in this movie, bringing the essence of that teaching. Of the light body teaching. Of the light body.
Can you just explain for people who may not have any idea?
Well, the light body exists in many, many traditions. So we first look to the Hindu tradition. And they say that there is a subtle body.
Yes.
It consists of a central channel and two side channels, and then chakras, and then layers of light. Now, the physical body, from my perspective, is also part of the light body.
Right. I also think that some people say the light expands out from the physical. I think the physical is a condensation of the light, which means that we actually extend out into space. And so this movie, how does it deal with that particular theme?
Well, it brings forth this teaching on the light body as a way to understand that we are so much more than what the media and all of these really the Judeo-Christian teachings would tell us. That the beauty of the body in all its majesty, in all its layers of density. So in the light body, it's like a matrix of light that includes your thoughts, your emotions. And then each chakra, each center, is connected to a different kind of, so for example, the grounding chakra would be the base chakra, and then there's a sexual one that deals with your sexuality, and then one about your will.
Power.
And then your heart with love. And then your throat, that has to do with speech. And your third eye, which has to do with your inner vision, the eye that sees in dreams.
And so you weave these themes in this movie, The Last Avatar.
Yes, this is one of the main themes. There's many metaphysical themes within the movie.
I think it's so great to have a film like this, because film is our most powerful medium, and we need these kind of spiritual films to awaken and to even talk to a population that we are becoming. And so how'd you meet the lovely Adi and discover that she's the perfect person to write the music for this?
Well, one of my incarnations, one of my avatars, we'll say,
in this lifetime,
in this lifetime is as a dancer-composer.
Oh, okay.
And I've been reconstructing the music and dance from the temples of Egypt, from the hieroglyphs. And I'm writing in parts, and I thought, I should join the World Music Choir so I can listen to world music in different parts. And I walk in, and there is the cutest girl. It's completely magnetic.
That must be
sitting in the alto section.
Or is that somebody else?
I'm also an alto, right? And so I'm
walk into where?
This was the World Music Choir, which actually her mother directs now in Ashland, Oregon.
So you walk into Ashland, Oregon.
World Music Choir.
There, you say, "Who is this?" And then
so I sat next to her, and as we're learning, I'm hearing this amazing voice, like just so beautiful and so confident and so pitch perfect. So then we were just casting for the movie, and we were looking for someone to play the lead.
Right.
And so I said to her, Adi, have you done any acting? And she said,
What did she
Yeah.
say? You said sure.
Absolutely.
Did you? Have you? Or did you say that to get the part?
No, I did theater in school.
Oh,
It was my first film. I'd never been in a movie before, but I've been on stage
and
since
you're
I
a
was
big
little.
part of this movie, actually.
Yeah.
So you found her, and you said she'd be perfect, and then how did her music get involved in the film?
so I'd say a few months into the filming, she brought out her first CD, Rogue.
Rogue?
And so Rogue, it's called. So then we listened to it, and we were blown away.
The footsteps are calling me, come find me. The cold blue skies invited me, I cannot fight them.
Can I tell you how it was from my
Yeah,
from my
tell
side?
me.
Because this is a great
Yeah,
story.
yeah.
So I'm hired as the actress in the film, and I'm all excited, but simultaneously working on my first release, which was called Rogue, which I did
Rogue.
a home birth. Rogue.
R-O-G-E.
Yeah, as in the Rogue River.
I got you. Or going rogue.
Going
or
rogue.
being a rogue.
Yeah, being rogue.
Okay, go.
And
Yeah.
and Rogue was just completing as I was acting in the film.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I finished it, Jay and Sharon and I had become really great friends.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided, I was like, oh, do you want to listen? I just finished my album. So I brought it over to their house, and we all shared a bottle of wine, and Jay lay us down on the couch, and Sharon's doing yoga in the room, and we're all just sort of snuggled up listening. We listened to the entire album straight through, and I will never forget it.
Tell me.
But Jay Weiner sits up with his glass of wine, and he goes, "That's the music for my movie." He was it was just so sure. He was just like, "You wrote the music for my, that's the soundtrack for my
You
film."
do
I
know
was
it
like,
when you hear it. I've done film, and it's like, yes, that's what
Yeah.
I'm looking for. So,
Yeah.
so now I have to ask you, so for us to hear your amazing voice, do you have like just something like that you can?
Of course.
Did you
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
I'd
mean,
love
it's
to.
not. It doesn't have to be part of the film, or do you prefer it to be
Yeah.
part of the film?
I
It's up
think
to 80.
I think
Yeah,
I'm just gonna sing for you.
just do it. I'm gonna sit
Okay.
back like Jay.
Okay, sit back like Jay. Have your
wine in my hand.
wine in your hand, and just
I
take a
have
moment.
this-
And
okay, go.
find your sacred space.
Find my sacred spot.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep pulse with a snap. Hello, great mother, bring my consciousness to my heart, fill me over, keep me open. In your eyes I find myself. Hello, Mama Luna, light the path that lay beyond me. Fierce as daylight cycle through me. I will never fear the night.
Thank you. Beautiful. Thank you. Great. And you've been singing a long time, huh?
As long as I can remember.
Since you were born, since you could speak, you said.
Since I could speak, I was singing.
Wow. No, that's the Ode to the Great Mother. What do you call that song?
I just call it Great Mother.
Is
But
that,
I was,
Yeah.
it was a channeled piece. I was walking through the Armstrong redwood trees up in Northern California, bare feet on the ground, walking through the cathedral. It's one of my holy sacred places is nature. And the great redwoods are just one of the most amazing trees. And they have
I know.
they have such a presence. And this song came through me like a lightning bolt. I couldn't pull out my pen and paper fast enough to just like scribble down these words. And I sat right down on the path and just kept singing it over and over again. And I wrote it down because when things come like that, you have to keep it going, and you don't want to lose it. So I just sat there on the path singing this song, and there'd be these little groups of families and tourists, and they'd be chattering and kind of talking, and then they could hear me as they approached, and they would all fall silent. And they would just walk past. It was such a juicy, it was an amazing experience.
Is that on your album, your CD?
It's not. It's coming.
anywhere?
It's coming forward.
So this is like a
I haven't-
preview for
This is
all
totally
your
a preview.
fans.
Yeah.
Wow, very nice.
Yeah.
Great. So how does what 80 does and do fit into like the whole idea of the last Avatar, Kalki? What is Kalki? I've heard that name. There was a couple of Kalkis like surfacing a couple of years ago, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Everyone was calling
So-
themselves Kalki, but
So Kalki
Yeah.
comes from the Hindu tradition.
yes.
And he's one of the avatars, the last avatar.
The
It's
last
where the
avatar.
name comes from, Vishnu. Now, in the Hindu tradition, there's a trinity, like in the Christian tradition, and there's a trinity of male and female. But we're
Right.
going to, and they always come together. So, but we'll talk about the male. So there's Brahma, the creator. There's Vishnu, the preserver.
And Shiva the
And
destroyer.
Shiva the
I'm a
the
Shiva
destroyer.
myself.
Now Vishnu is the deity that preserves everything on earth and is very concerned about what's taking place in our reality. And so whenever there's a problem on the earth, he takes an avatar. That's where that word
A
came
form.
from. A physical
He
form.
comes into manifestation, embodiment.
Yes. And so the 9th avatar was the Buddha.
Oh, that was a ninth one. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And the prior one before that was Krishna.
But Jesus doesn't fit into that.
Some would say that Jesus is an avatar.
Right.
Right.
But it's okay.
But Kalki, so because in the Indian system of the yugas, they see time in cycles. And so the end of the cycle, there's the 10th. The 10th avatar, who is Kalki. And Kalki comes, so if we relate to that mantra, Om Shrim Prim Maya Vinash. So Om is the opening, the primordial sound.
Right.
Shrim is the divine feminine. Lakshmi, his consort, actually.
the consort of Vishnu is Lakshmi.
Yeah, goddess of wealth, fertility, abundance.
Right. That's cool.
And she always comes with him.
Right.
So in many ways, that's what 80's playing in the movie.
She's playing the embodiment of Lakshmi.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
good.
Bringing you wealth. And
But Kalki doesn't refer to Kali, or is
not
it
really, only
no?
because the end of time. Kal means time.
Yeah, but not.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
So Kalki, Maya Binash means the destroyer of illusion. And then, so he's coming every time to destroy illusion and the enemies of truth and bring on the next golden age, because we are in the Kali Yuga.
That's
the
what I've
darkest
heard.
time, and we all
We're coming.
have a sense of that right now. There's a
Right.
lot of chaos in the world.
Right. So we're coming in, but I think some of us are actually ascending out of the Kali Yuga into the golden age. I think some of us are living in the golden age. I mean, even though
That's right.
a lot
Well-
of the world is descending into it.
That's why we created Kalki. Kalki in the movie is just this burned out Hollywood screenwriter kid, right? And Kalki in the movie is a metaphor for that desire for awakening, that ability to completely wake up and destroy the illusion and bring in the bliss of the divine feminine in particular, Anand Shakti.
Anand Shakti,
Bliss.
the
Anand-
bliss of Shakti, the feminine energy.
Right, which is light.
So Kalki brings in this guy, the last avatar, who's Kalki, brings in the awakening of the divine feminine. In all of us, or in...
And he's there to be a metaphor that we all have that potential. And in the movie, he brings forth a lot of very interesting teachings from different traditions.
Oh, like what? Talk about those teachings, because I think that's really interesting to have that in a movie. What are some of the traditions, and how does that fit into your music?
So it takes place in Mount Shasta, which is a very interesting place. And it also brings in the Lemurians, who live under Mount Shasta.
I heard that. Actually, I met a few Lemurians who claim to have come from Mount Shasta, so I know that tradition. So
Yeah.
there's Mount Shasta, there's Lemurians, there's the end of time, and what is the... what happens?
So there's a group of psychics. 80 plays one, I play one. And they're living in Mount Shasta. And they have been educated in the dream time, in their dream state, since they were children, by the Lemurians. Because the Lemurians, in terms of how we use the lore in the movie, the Lemurians were living on the earth, but when they saw the dark times coming, they went underground to preserve the teachings. And the way they communicated with the psychics is through their dream states.
And that's in the movie.
That's in the movie.
And they, in the dream state, they're telling them that the last avatar
Is
that's
coming.
been predicted is to arrive.
Yes, and it's their job to discover him. Actually, Mary, the character she plays, it's her job.
Because he doesn't know that he's Kalki.
Like none of us do,
We
right?
totally are completely blind to it.
To our divine essence. So
Correct.
he doesn't know. And
He doesn't know.
And then you say, guess what, buddy?
You're definitely Kalki.
And what does he say? Get lost. No.
Yeah, he doesn't understand, and he of course resists it, and isn't aware of his potential, and can't really see the forest for the trees.
So then what happens? I mean, you don't have to give away the whole movie, but
Right. Well, to bring in the musical aspect,
Yes.
I would say that part of my job with the music is actually carrying the essence of the divine feminine. As a pianist and a vocalist, I weave a lot of layered harmonies and a lot of
did
really
you write
beautiful.
the music special for the movie, or did you have
Some of it I did, actually. We used a few of the tracks from Rogue, which is the album that I released at the same time. Well,
But
around
do you
the same
feel
time.
like you were embodying the divine and encoding the soundtrack so people could pick up on the vibration?
Oh, absolutely.
That's what
Well,
I
and there was
thought.
other encodings as well,
What's
because we
that?
haven't talked about,
Talk about it.
the Illuminati, who's
Talk about the
after
Illuminati.
Kalki.
Oh, the Illuminati doesn't want Kalki, which is what is really happening. The Illuminati doesn't want the Earth to evolve to the next level of our awakening. So
Right.
that it's
So we bring that in. Well, also because Jay has, the writer-director.
Right, your
has
husband, yes.
has a big background in looking at what's going on the planet. He's very aware politically of what's going on. And so we want some tension in the movie.
Right.
So we brought
Give us-
in
yeah.
the Illuminati, and he has some great lines. In fact, he has a
Who
line.
has some lines? Illuminati guys?
Yes,
The
Lord
movie.
Archon, he's called.
Oh, yes, and the Archons are part of the Illuminati because,
Well-
we can get into that.
The Archons, I must speak about the Archons.
Yeah, please
'cause
speak
for
about
me,
the
they're
Archons.
an incredible metaphor.
And they're actually more than a metaphor. They actually may be a reality.
Yes.
So tell me
Yes.
what you think, because I
Okay.
know what I've heard
So
about the Archons.
the concept comes from the Gnostic tradition, so very early Christianity. And they thought that there were these they were like psychic vampires, off-world, extraterrestrial
Right.
beings that embed themselves in our consciousness, in our light bodies.
Yeah.
And they feed off of greed, anger, fear, torture.
Everything we see on the news, everything
Yes.
we know of the world, they're actually the force behind generating that, because that's their food, is the human emotion, the dramas
Exactly.
of human emotion. And that is going on. I totally believe that.
I believe it too.
Yeah. So in the music, how did you deal with the Archons and embed codes?
Oh, that was one of my favorite parts.
What?
Was just, well, I had to really sit with the tone of the Archon, of the parasite, of
What
the
is
vampire.
the tone of the parasite?
Well, you're going to have to watch the movie to
I
find
will.
out.
I will.
But
Everyone will have to watch it. Yes.
everyone's going to have to watch it
Okay,
to find
yes,
out,
yes, yes.
because it's juicy.
But how? Yeah.
But I wanted to keep it simple and in congruency with the rest of the movie.
Uh-huh.
It's like if the whole film is mostly piano and vocal based, I wasn't just gonna like bring in some trumpets.
yeah,
I
right.
wasn't tambourine. So I wanted to sort of keep it within the same sphere, but also bring in the depth. And what I did was I just replayed the scenes and also got into my own version of that sort of insidious pain body,
You
parasitic.
felt your own pain body and the
Yeah.
frequency of your pain body. would
Right,
you
and not
say?
just mine, but like saturating myself with those kinds of things, like Bram Stoker's Dracula. Such an inspiration, not only musically, but just the saturation of that kind of vampiric
Yeah,
energy.
the archonic. That's very archonic. So, but you don't have to tell me what the music is, but what
Yeah.
was the feeling tone that you were able to write? I mean, was it in a certain chords or
Actually,
sequence?
yes. There's a what they call the Devil's Interval,
Really?
and it's the fourth. It's the augmented fourth. If
How's
you know
that
anything
go?
about music
I have
theory.
no idea, but
So you have
nothing.
a scale of notes, and then you have the first note and the fourth note,
Uh-huh.
but it's augmented, meaning it's the half step down.
Oh.
And it makes, and it's called the devil's interval for hundreds of years. They actually outlawed it in many traditions. They outlawed the devil's fourth. You were not, and that's why they called it the devil's fourth.
Because why?
It creates tension in your body. It's like if you hear a harmonic third, there's the 1, 2, 3, 1 and 3, they go together. But the 1 and the augmented 4.
Do it.
Let's see if I can do it. 1,
wanna feel
2,
the
3,
tension in my body.
4, 4, 1, 4. That might not even be it. I need to like, you know.
But it's like
It's an augmented fourth that's played as a chord on the piano, specifically down in the bass, because in bass tones, it's like carrying sort of like, you know, it's like a heaviness.
It brings that energy of
That plus a lot of other, I actually made up my own chant and sort of channeled like the vampire women in the Bram Stoker's Dracula, sort of like this. It's one part augmented fourth dissonance, sort of like an unsettling feeling. You're just kind of like, ooh, I don't know, it doesn't sit.
Yeah.
You want it to resolve. You want it to go to the 3 or the 5. You just want to feel complete. But we don't complete it. We keep it in the fourth, so that's one part. And then on the other part of it, it's this sexy, sultry calling in. It's like, come.
I'm getting excited just
darling.
looking at you.
So we just have this, and so what I felt was the proper sort of resonance or frequency in the same moment.
Sexy,
It's the
salty,
same
and the
over
devil's
the top
fourth.
of the devil's fourth, and this can be displayed. You can see this all over the world, and we
can?
use
Where do you
women's sexuality to sell the parasite. That's what you think. You
That
look at
is
the
what-
car, and the naked woman. With the beer, we use women's sexuality to bring us into the parasite, because women's sexuality, if left to the unconscious, is highly attractive. It's just like anything.
It's archonic again. It's
Exactly.
just dominating people without any sense of spirit or soul.
or intention, or why, what's
It's
happening.
what pornography is.
Exactly,
and
we're just
all that.
moths to the flame.
That's right,
So
and
I
that's
sort
what
of
runs people.
I dosed them with their own medicine. I was like, I'm going to
see.
take this dissonance,
Very
and then I'm going
smart
to
of
use
you.
the. Well,
And it works, right?
Oh, yes.
Because you produced and Jay
Yes,
and
it's very powerful. Even the words she's using words like Illuminatus, Satana.
Veni Svet.
a lot of
And there's
systems.
a lot of, it's very snaky. There's also some snakes in there as well.
So when people watch this movie, do you want them to have like an experience? You want them to have this. It's not like, oh, I'm going to just watch another film. It's something
Right.
else is going on here, right?
In many metaphysical traditions, there's something called transmission,
Right.
right? Where the teacher who really embodies the tradition will either through voice or through energy or through symbol transmit knowledge, right, really into your full light body, onto every aspect of who you are. So the movie itself has that quality. It's filled with symbolism.
It is. I mean, symbols are all around us. The symbols of the Illuminati are everywhere, especially, in gas company
yes.
logos. The shell, that is a symbol of the body and spirit. The chevron, all those symbols are Illuminati symbols that try to talk to our spirit but manipulate our consciousness into following these commercial companies. It's very subtle, the archonic Illuminati domination. And a film like this, you're saying, is a way we can wake up to that.
Well, there is a wake-up
Partly,
call in the movie.
What
There's
is
a
the wake-up
fantastic speech
Oh, like what? Give me, because
where he's speaking about how we've been hypnotized.
the last avatar, or
Yes.
he wakes up. He says,
Yes.
"I am the last avatar." And
Yes.
he says what?
And he hacks into all the satellite networks
Oh, really?
all throughout the world. And he gives this speech about how we've been hypnotized. And we've been taught to really dislike ourselves, never really come forth in the fullness of who we are.
That's true.
And how it's time for that to change. And also, we look at the political world, and we feel, Jay and I feel, that there's no way on a political machination to
Right.
solve the problems, that it's a spiritual issue. That we've really come very far from integrity and truth and love and all the values, beauty that we really care for. So he says at a certain point, he goes, this is a revolution of the spirit.
Right.
And then he explains who we are in the very large sense and the concept of the light body, and actually there's beautiful special effects. And actually where that first comes out in the movie is that Neil Donald Walsh.
Everybody knows his conversation with God that became famous, yes.
So he plays the legendary Count Saint Germain.
Love Saint Germain. I know, I do, because he is the avatar in a sense, or he is the sort of, I think,
Immortal.
leader of this age of awakening, and he's one of those beings that is overseeing. That's what I feel about
Yes.
Saint Germain, how all of us are waking up. So Neil Donald Walsh plays Saint Germain, who was actually spotted on Mount Shasta by, what's his name, the I Am
Yes.
people.
Yes.
So he and what is, tell me about that
So
part.
he plays kind of the Obi-Wan Kenobi, the teacher,
Right.
who introduces him to Kalki, Jack, actually.
Jack,
to the failed Hollywood screenwriter.
who was really Kalki.
He introduces him to his light body. In fact, there's this beautiful sequence, and the music is gorgeous, where he just, he says, well, I'm going to have to show you, Neil
Right.
Germain. And then you see his light body, the fields and the chakras lighting up, and it shifts colors. And
But you know what question I have, because I've seen a lot of spiritual movies, how do you ride that line between preaching, this is how it is, and having sort of audiences get it? I mean, because that's some of the problem I have with some of the spiritual movies, that it's like, becomes like, okay, but maybe it's okay. I mean, did you have to deal with that issue, or not really?
not so much, because it's there's so many different, how would we call it, ideas and symbols from so many traditions. And also that's why we gave it to, the lead is in his 30s. And
the music also carries the subtleties of the film. So what you have, though, is not really a drama in the traditional sense. You have it is a teaching film.
Well, the thing that occurs to me about The Last Avatar is that it's all about gnosis. It's all about knowing thyself. There's no finger pointing. There's no, like, you should do this, or it should be other than it is. It's just illuminating the fact that we all within us have the power to understand who we really are if we get clear about it and actually, wipe away the illusion of what we've been told and understand ourselves. So in that way, there's no room for anything other than just complete self-empowerment and truly just clarity of what we're here to do.
Well, that's why I love the title, The Last Avatar, because in a sense, we are this is the last avatar, because it's the density of the unconscious as the avatar, the illusion, before we make the realization that we are the divine. So last avatar is that last bit of illusion that has separated us from spirit.
Right.
So we are all in our last avatar body, because now is the time of awakening. That's what we're here. So the other themes of the film are about the awakening, the light body. Talk about that and some of the sacred geometry, because as we see behind us, we have this beautiful sacred geometry pattern that I think aligns the left and right brain. The right brain is one for pattern making, and the left brain has logic, but sacred geometry is a fusion and making us whole brain creatures. So talk about that.
so sacred, the word sacred, actually, according to Robert Lawler,
yes, he has
my mentor.
He actually coined the term sacred geometry. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
He said that. That's what he said.
So he wrote the book, Sacred Geometry.
Yes.
But according to him, sacred comes from sacrum, right? From actually the bones of the body.
Yeah.
That grounding part of you that really connects to the earth.
The unmovable part, he says, it's the upper
Yes.
torso has the vertebrae that move, but the sacrum doesn't move. So
Right.
how do you relate that to what's now called spiritual geometry? But how does he relate that to that?
Well, he says it's the fixed, and so the geometric forms which create, are part of the creation of all reality. You see these forms everywhere.
Yeah.
There's a wonderful book called A Beginner's Guide to Constructing the Universe.
Michael Schneider.
Michael Schneider.
Yes, I love him.
That really, actually, Jay gave me that book when we met, and it opened my eyes to the beauty of nature in a way that I had never. I understood rhythm from Indian music and Indian dance, but never in this way where I could just, see the spiral shapes.
So how do you bring that into this movie, The Last Avatar?
So that's part when we recognize him as Kalki. Then he's taken into Mount Shasta. I'm not in through the cave in Mount Shasta, into Lemuria.
Right.
And he's given this transmission of knowledge about the archons, but also with these beautiful special effects that are showing, like the platonic solids. So we're giving, that's what I'm talking about, it's kind of a transmission, because visually and symbolically in the movie you are seeing these teachings on sacred geometry.
Right.
But also, since I really helped with I was producing and I helped with the production design. So you see these, if you look through the movie, you'll see lots of spirals, lots of sacred geometric symbols embedded.
Oh, so the movie's
sets.
actually giving us this transmission. So we're not even having to pay attention to the plot or the action. It's also speaking to us visually, to a subconscious part that's being activated.
Absolutely.
And of course with the music.
Yeah. So it's sort of a take your own adventure. You remember those books, you choose your own adventure, where you start the book, and then it's like, if you want to walk through the door, go to chapter 7.
Oh.
I used to love those books. They were my favorite.
So how does the movie do that?
The movie does that because depending on where you're at in your own spiritual evolution and your own level of consciousness, you might just see it as the surface level, like, it's a
Nice
movie about
story,
da-da-da.
yeah.
Yeah, and the music was amazing and the best music I've ever heard in my life. Or you will take it on these other subtle levels and you'll actually see some of the embedded subtle energies in the sacred geometry, the metric shapes. And so it's sort of like whatever level you are at,
Right.
you will absorb and understand.
Because a lot of people will be coming to this movie as already knowings, they're having awakened to who they are. So you want those people to get a deeper level of meaning than just the person who's saying, oh, nice music. And
Right, nice music, and these are new concepts I've never heard of.
Right.
And
So what do you, as the producer, want people to come away with when after they've seen this? Tell me.
One of the lines when he gives his speech,
Yes.
Kalki, he says, "We are now becoming conscious of our power to remake the world." So for us, it's a wake-up call to who we really are. All of our movies have been that way, but this is the biggest wake-up call. It's a movie about self-empowerment and joining together to create the kind of world, the kind of community that we really are longing for.
And that is one of peace, harmony, love, divine mother, presence,
Beauty.
joy. I don't know why we don't have that. What were you going to say?
well, I was just going to say the reality of the situation, the truth of who we are.
Yeah.
There's peace and joy and harmony, but really, I think beyond that is that we were all brought here. We all have a very specific gift to give, every one of us, and so it's like taking away the stuff that's on top of it. And so, love isn't something you can be discovered. It's something that you take away the layers of what you put on the love. It's the foundation.
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
So
yes.
in my mind, I don't see it as like this happy place with the rainbows and and we're all just loving each other, although that's a very beautiful dream. For me, it's more about we are creators. We're here to create. And anything our imaginations, we can truly create. And so taking away the illusion, taking away that which is taking all of our attention, and actually getting back to the source of who we are and what we can create is much more exciting idea than this vision of world peace, although that might be part of it.
Let me see if I can get what you're saying here.
Yeah.
So instead of like the world peace, everyone be happy.
Right.
You're saying let's create a greater vision of empowerment that activates the God potential so we can unfold the universe in the way we want it to in that moment. Are you saying
Correct.
that?
I'm absolutely saying
Okay,
that.
just checking to say
Yeah,
you're saying that.
well, it's interesting because I think people sort of get caught up in this idea of peace, and I love peace. However, I feel like peace would be such a small potato thing once we get to the point of actually activating our true potential and our brains.
Right, because it's really about creativity. It's about making movies and music and speaking and painting and writing and dancing.
And technology that makes the world even a better place
It
than we
absolutely-
are.
I totally am on
in complete
technology.
synthesis
Yes.
with the planet, because she is our greatest teacher.
Thank
There's
you.
nothing she hasn't done that we could do.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Has she produced a movie? All of this.
She is the movie.
We are that movie.
We are that movie.
No, I agree. We're unfolding into the God mind consciousness. And yes, that's a good point, because even beyond peace, there's the creative impulse to know more. At least that's what drives me, you know. It's like keeps us going, and we are creating something beyond utopia, which is an activation of the ongoing spark of creation as we unfold into forever. And we're
Right.
here to partake. Yes,
He actually says that.
he does.
We have been creating, we are creating in every moment. And now we are becoming conscious of our power to remake the world. And this is a revolution of the spirit.
Well, and that's exactly when we become conscious of the archonic manipulations don't have a hold on us anymore. If we go unconscious, if we have to like live for survival and all the things that television tells us, then we're suffering under the weight of an archonic intention that robs our energy. And now we're here to awaken. So I'm very happy you've done a film about this.
Thank you.
But you really see a vision of people downloading this on the web and having an experience at home.
Yes, and then getting together to
Oh.
discuss it, because we found it's a really wonderful mechanism for dialogue about what do we really want.
And what do you want to leave people with? What do we really want? What do you think we really, how can we initiate that?
For me,
Yes.
we start with the temple of the body,
Nice.
right? And the embodiment, the full avatar, becoming your true avatar.
Becoming the divine in form.
Yeah, that's through my background is all the
Yeah.
tantric teachings and the Bollywood with my guru, Siddhara Devi, who brought dance to Bollywood and embodying all of these deities, storytelling. And through that, I have been blessed to have this amazing experience of feeling the energy, that high energy in my own body.
And that's the real transmission of the movie, right? That's what you want people to
Yes.
get, the activation of the light body. And for you, Miss?
Well, I'm just going to ride on her tails of saying that if you're going to be here in a body, then you just might as well actually be here in the body, rather than having a body but giving away most of your consciousness to something that you're not even aware of. So getting clear about your unconscious commitments and your motivations and why are you here? And like I said earlier, we are all here. This is a belief I have, that we're all here because we have a gift. Each and every one of us has something special to contribute to the leading edge of evolution of consciousness.
Yes.
And if you don't know who you are, then you don't know what your gift is. It's like the most tragic thing. It's
I
like
know, I'm
having
so
a gift, but then the door, the lovers never meet. They go, she takes the elevator and he takes the stairs.
Oh.
And that's your soul and your purpose.
And your body.
And your body. You don't want your soul and your purpose to take the elevator and your body to take the stairs.
No, we're here to be embodied with soul
Exactly.
purpose.
And then you're giving your consciousness to all of these vampires and all this stuff. It's not even, it's like, why?
Well, it's so clear that you know why you're here.
Ugh, thank you. I was raised knowing I came into this world very clear
It's
on
not
that.
your first, what did you say? It's not your
It's
first.
not my first pony ride.
I love that. So with that,
And what I'm finding is that the group of, we might call tribals, we might call neo-hippies,
I'm a neo-hippie. I'm
Yeah.
a pseudo-hippie. Yeah.
and anyone who's a journeyer, who's seen the film,
Journey.
right, is saying, wow, this really enhances my experience. It relates to my journey.
I'm sure, because it's about a journey. It's
And it's psychedelic.
And really good films always reflect, us, the hero. We are the hero with 1,000 faces, as Joseph Campbell says. So we're always in the movie. Every time I'm watching a movie, that's me up there as the last avatar. I mean, that's why I love film, because we are embodied in the film, and embodied in our body as well. So people move away from this as kind of awaken more of what they already are, you're saying.
Yes, totally. And, we're taking kind of Hollywood and turning it upside down. So the word Hollywood, Holly came from, Hollywood was this
Tree.
The tree and the staff of the Celtic, the Druid priest.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
Right, so it was magic.
Oh.
It goes with magic.
Oh.
And so instead of the black magic, which is coming out too much these days with torture porn and all this
Is it
horrible.
torture porn? That's
Oh
new for
man, that's a
me.
new genre of horror.
I did not even know it
Torture porn.
existed, if you must know.
Well, you're
Oh,
lucky.
just go back in. Go back in.
I'm like
Close your-
totally, you just ruined my world,
ah!
my innocent. No, it's okay. I'm sure it exists. I guess.
all
So in
kinds of
all
things.
our work, we want to turn that,
Okay.
use these amazing mechanisms of film, it's music, so it's sound, it's light, it's, it absorbs you completely, right? And it's magic. So instead of, what we might call black magic, we're turning the white magic,
Right.
the white magic of empowerment and light.
Wow. Well, congratulations to you and Jay, of course, and the lovely Adie.
Thank
you,
you.
Alan.
No, it sounds exciting. I'm happy that people start to be awakened through our mass media this way. I've been talking to Sharon Rose from Sacred Mysteries and the producer of The Last Avatar, and the lovely Adie, singer, songwriter, performance, goddess embodied. Well, you both are, of course. And how can people find you? How do they find you and your music?
You can go to oracle88.com. That's my website. Oracle, the word Oracle, followed by the number 88.com. Check out my music, my tour schedule. I'm all over the place.
I know you're all over the place.
I'm all over the place.
And then find you at
TheLastAvatarMovie.com and SacredMysteries.com.
Sacred Mysteries. Thanks for coming to New York.
Thanks for
and
having us.
Oh, it's a pleasure, Al.
Thanks for watching New Realities. I'm Alan Steinfeld, and this has been a lot of fun for me. So if you want more of this, go to my website, Newrealities.com. You can check me out on YouTube, youtube.com/newrealities, or email me at newrealities@earthlink.net. Thanks. Can you hum us out?
Find them
Thank you for watching.
The footsteps are calling me.